The global gathering for Coffin Comics Fiends and the Swarm, featuring exclusive party, artist, signings, commission, panels, beer, food, coffee, alcohol, tours of HQV2, trading posts, CGC, friendship, community, camaraderie, shenanigans, insanity, and more.
Plan ahead. Be there.
Tickets and details on sale now at coffincomicsshop.com.
Presented by Coffin Comics. Swarm Fest.
February 23rd through 25th, 2024. Mesa, Arizona, USA.
Swarm.
Hey everybody, it's your boy Brian Pulido coming at ya. Today we are at the program called Beer with Brian, a program of the Sworn Club. It's kind of an informal conversation, a lot less hype, but happy to answer any questions you may have pertaining to the work of Coffin Comics. I'll tell you a little bit about what's going on with me in terms of like what I'm watching or reading pop culture wise. It's a program of the Sworn Club. Sworn Club is a club that we have, and there are a couple of main advantages. There's several programs, but one main advantage is you get news on all the goings on of Coffin Comics 24 hours in advance, and you get a 1 hour advantage on the great majority of our Coffin comic promotional launches. And I got to tell you, there's some fun stuff coming up for the fall. And I'm working on a massive, cool project that I will be announcing in an event we call Crucial Con. We've been calling it Crucial Con for the last couple of years. It'll be the last week in September. And I guess the other thing that I could announce pretty safely today, I think, is that on September 15th, we are launching a very, very special artist celebration. It's the Eric Basaluda eBass Artist Celebration. This is going to be a promotion that is both online and in person at Coffin Comics. Eric Basaluda himself will be here at Coffin Comics HQ on Saturday, September 16th. And I got to tell you, Eric has turned in some beautiful, beautiful work, colored by Sabine Rich. And man, you're going to really enjoy how we're going to present these images. And I'm stoked. You know, it's been behind the scenes working it out with Eric and everybody. Whew, it's going to be fun. But anyway, I promise no shilling. So I'll calm down and kind of open up the floor to any questions you have. But first up, let me tell you a couple of pop culture things I'm enjoying. So the first thing I'm enjoying quite a lot is on AMC Plus, a series called Dark Winds. Dark Winds. And this is an adaptation of the work of novelist Tony Hillerman. And it is about a detective story told from the point of view of the Navajo tribal police. And they're usually, the first season was 6 episodes, and it was great. A Native American cast and some of the interactions with FBI, etc. And they're on season 2. I think they run about 6 episodes a season, so it's sort of really tight. And I think there's the third. We just saw the 3rd episode last night, and man, this second season is super tense. Definitely follows a small cast of characters and their lives, unveiling detectiving a detective story and then other things that are going on in their life. And it's set in 1971. So every car and truck in the show you just want. So I recommend that. And then I'm reading a suspense thriller. It's a book called Fallen. Is it called Fallen? Fallen or Down? And it takes place on a plane. So it's about a hijacked plane. Very buzzy. That's why I picked it up. It's the writer, whose name completely escapes me, was a stewardess. So she really wrote with great knowledge of the work, you know, being up in a plane and all the inner workings of every control towers and cockpits and all the details. So it's good. I mean, it's like reading it's kind of like, you know, fun, action-y thriller, you know, and it's a quick read, you know, real, not flowery, poetic language at all, just like thriller. And I'm getting towards the end. So I recommend it. It was easy, you know, if you're just looking for a summer read. So that's kind of what's going on over here pop culture-wise. And if you had any questions, hit me up.
So Dan is asking, Brian, if you eventually got to make a live-action Lady Death movie, would you focus on Hell-based story or Earth? And who would you cast as the main character?
Well, thank you for asking. So this is what I think. So I've been part of 20 years worth of development deals for Lady Death as a movie or TV show. And I think some of the pitfalls that have happened in the past is A, making it historical, B, keeping it in hell. So I know this sounds kind of wild, but I think the best shot at Lady Death being a live action motion picture or television is to retell her story 100% in the present. So that is setting it in the present, keeping the entire story the way we know it and love it, but using characters from the present. The reason I say that is we've actually, in the last couple of years, got together with Emmy Award winning writers. I'm not going to name names, but like top shelf talent, group of people put together, and their idea was generally to keep the story exclusively in hell. And we actually sent it around to every single studio, pitched everywhere, and it was just a pass. And it was a pass for two reasons. A, because of the cost inferred at always staying in hell. And then the studio executives had a hard time understanding how the average person couldn't relate. So if you remember that movie, Drag Me to Hell, like a lot of the movie is here and it's about dragging this girl to hell. So she doesn't spend all time in hell. She comes back. And I guess by that thought process, you know, it's more relatable if they kind of wind in and out. So I know that might sound kind of radical to some people, but I do think that's probably the easiest way for us to get it done based on experience, you know, based on, you know, giving it a college try through the years. So as far as who, I don't know. I never know that stuff because, you know, what happens is I could tell you somebody today and then, you know, it's not going to get made for a couple of years. So that person's kind of in or out. I think an actress that just always knocks me out is Jessica Chastain. I just think she's phenomenal. Her emotional range is incredible. You know, she comes off very powerfully. You know, if you asked me 5 years ago, I'd have like, you know, different answers. But, you know, I think Jessica Chastain's incredible. So I guess those are my answers for today.
Victor is saying, I would love to recommend Near Replicant.
Okay.
That's a movie or a book.
Okay, Near Replicant. What is it? Is it a show? Is it a TV show? Doesn't ring a bell for me. A lot of good stuff. You could, you know, if you're willing to kind of look around, which I do, you could find some pretty cool stuff out there.
Scott is saying we will be seeing you at TCC in a couple of weeks.
That's great. Yes, that's right. So myself and Francisca are owners of Tucson Comic-Con. Happens every Labor Day, and it's going to happen in 2 weeks. We've been preparing the entire year for it. We have some amazing guests. Tucson is a town of about 650,000 people. We take over an entire convention center, over like, I don't know, 135,000 square feet of activity. We have guests, we have contests, we have cosplay, we have like 30,000 feet of games. It's you know, it's a full-blown great regional convention. Some of our guests this year include Christopher Priest, Mark Morales, Joe Jusko, Jimmy Palmiotti, Amanda Connor. Those are some folks that come to my mind. We have some celebrity guests like Chandler Riggs of Walking Dead fame, Michael Biehn, Terminator, the Honky Tonk Man, and the Yellow Ranger. So, and more. If you like guests, we have, 85,000 square feet of vendor space. We have panels going all the time. We have games going all the time. It's just it's wonderful. It's a very soulful event. If any of you guys and gals out there are around at cons corporate conventions, it has that feel, you know, very, just sort of, you know, grown from the city itself. And Tucson's a real fun, cool city. It's a great place to go to, visit from out of state, amazing restaurants, other great things to see. It's generally just got like a cool Austin in the 80s feel. So if you're not doing anything on Labor Day weekend, come on out. Eric is saying, so I wanted to tell you, I met Frank Cho last weekend at Fan Expo.
Excellent.
And I've had him sign the handcrafted edition you did for you. He really seemed to love that book, and I hope you two hook up again.
Yeah, you know, I had an agreement in principle with Frank to do another cover, and that was probably from last spring. So I hope we do get together again. That would be great. I actually do foresee kind of calling up more folks because it's that time of year. It's like, okay, we got a bunch of new covers to do. So that would be fun.
Matt is asking, aside from the initial launch of a Kickstarter campaign,
What's the most rewarding part of the Kickstarter process?
See, what is the most, well, I mean, some of the rewarding parts of a Kickstarter process, kind of the whole way through. It's a living, breathing thing. It's a campaign. As you know, with Coffin Comics, it's really not static. I think at the heart of it, though, is we're trying to tell new stories. That's really more and more really at the heart of it for me, is I want to tell a story, and I like telling stories with Mike McLean and our team. So the idea that people support it and it could get into your hands ultimately is the most fun. Then secondarily, I do love commissioning the covers, and I like the marketing and the promotion. It's another element of expression. I kind of always loved P.T. Barnum as I grew up. So the idea that, I could use my marketing hustle to kind of induce more and more people into reading our stuff. Those are the parts that I find the most enjoyable.
Brian wants to know, what's the release date for Lady Death Chapter 17 normal standard price? So I guess in the comic shop.
Oh, for the comics market? I don't know right off the top of my head. I mean, usually it's planned. So yeah, that CD, I think it's coming out as early as January. But stay tuned. If you want to know that kind of news, definitely please sign up for Coffin Comics newsletter. Just go to coffincomics.com, upper right. Sign up to our newsletter. We send out a newsletter for new news every Monday, Tuesday, etc., and promotions all week long. But yeah, I don't off the top of my head know it, but I know that we've already worked on it.
Just more of a comment really from Solomon saying, I met Sapphire Nova 2 cons ago back in 2017. She's a nice, down-to-earth person.
Yeah.
She rocks her Lady Death cosplay.
Yeah, Sapphire Nova is just a great ally. We met years ago, 6 or 7 years ago at this point, at a con in New Jersey. Just so happened she had family out here, and when she moved out, we just stayed connected. So I kind of look at her kind of like, she's like a sister. She's just a great person. She's a great ally.
I guess Mr. Goat here is kind of reminding everyone about the Hell Witch. Oh, no, he's saying, so safe to say, November 2024, we'll be getting a Hell Witch versus Sad Girl, providing Lady Death versus Zombie Trap goes well.
Who knows? You never know. I don't know what's next.
Let's see. I guess Victor's saying that's a video game. And then one of my favorite characters
in
the video, the Shadow Lord, is a bit similar. Lady Death, if you have to say so myself, is so that's a video game. So
would you like to hear an interesting tip? And it's absolutely the truth. I've literally not played a video game since about 1989. Yeah, just don't play video games. So many hours in the day, and I just sort of decided there's certain things I just can't go down the rabbit hole on, and I thought games would be one of them for a couple of reasons. I understand they're very addictive, and I also learned back in the 80s when I was playing video games that I wasn't very good. So if I'm persistent and not good and it's addictive, I'm never going to win. I'm never going to get anywhere. I'm so average at it. So why drive myself crazy? So I just spend that same amount of time I would playing a game, maybe watching a movie, reading a book, or creating something new.
The Plague Doctor wants to know, whatever happened to the Dweller or the Dwelling?
Well, interesting you should ask. So those were books stories I was writing right at the end of the Chaos Comics era. And so when Chaos Comics went out of business, kind of everything that was created around that time, for me, I kind of got a little sadness on it. So I just didn't have an interest in going back to it. Not only was that a sad time, but then I also think creatively it was just kind of so-so. But I mean, I did write that story, and I wrote a variation on that character, Blackjack, in a story called Bad Moon Rising that was published by my former publisher from many years ago.
Yeah, he says, I remember seeing an ad for it, but never found copies.
Never made it out. Never really got off the ground.
Let's see. Jumped out. Got a lot of questions here.
A lot of questions.
So asking about Lady Death versus Zombie Tramp. Mm-hmm. Will it ever get a Lady Death video game?
I don't know. That's a really good question. I don't know. What I will say is, in the 4th week of September, we have a lot of really cool announcements and stuff that we've been working on for almost all year. So among other things, and what I think it's September 30th, literally, we will announce our 2025 publishing program, our company theme, and other things that we have going on, of which some very exciting stuff.
And let's see, we've got, what should we go with? Oh, we got Robert Zabarski in the house.
Robert, how are you?
Moto Viper is stoked to be here.
Moto Viper, thank you for being here.
Let's see.
Robert.
Oh, Michael saying Lady Death rules. Yeah.
Thank you, Michael. I agree with you. Lady Death rules. She's fun to write. Yeah, we're deep into writing her 2024 storyline and other cool stuff going on.
Frank is asking, someone mentioned this in a previous Beer with Brian chat. Any chance of a crossover with Raven Hex, Jim Ballant?
I don't really know. I mean, I certainly, have great respect for Jim, everything that he's accomplished. I think that we're both kind of solitary beasts in a sense. Like he's doing his thing, we're doing our thing, and have a lot of respect for what he's doing. Absolutely. But I don't know if team ups are really in the cards. I mean, one of the reasons why I'm doing the team up with Zombie Tramp, I mean, I've been pretty upfront. I fundamentally trust Dan, and we licensed the right to do this crossover to Dan. Dan is publishing it. I'm certainly part of the storytelling and, consulting and approving, but really it's Dan's work. Now, I wouldn't do that with not a lot of people. If Jim wanted to do it, he's probably the sort of guy I would do it with. But, I know he's busy and he's on his own destiny as I'm on my own destiny.
All right, got time for a couple more here.
Time for a couple more.
Solomon wants to know, when is Coffin Comics Sworn Fest?
Coffin Comics Sworn Fest is February 23, 24, 25 of 2024. If you go to coffincomics.com, search term Sworn Fest, it'll give you all the information and what you could expect about this 3-day festival, which is unlike any convention you've ever attended, I promise, because it's like 400 to 500 people who like the exact same thing as you. You really find reasons to kind of like hang out, get to know a lot of people, and lifelong friendships are made at Sworn Fest. I guarantee it.
Eric wants to know, what is the plan for the current HQ when HQ2 is operational?
Well, when HQ2 is operational, for all intents and purposes, we will be selling this space because we won't have use for it. The current HQ is 4,000 square feet. The HQ we're going to is just under 10,000 square feet. It'll actually fulfill all our needs. So, we looked at it and, one thing we could do is become a landlord, but maybe we don't want to do that. So maybe we just want to sell it and let the next person and the next generation enjoy it as we have. And I love this building. It'll be a sad day, but, we will, it'll be a sad day, but you got to do what you got to do.
Ray has a suggestion for Sworn Fest, perhaps a contest for the heavy metal karaoke.
What? Okay, sure. Yeah. Okay. So you'll make the karaoke like competitive instead of just going up there. It's like, who does the best and all that kind of stuff. I don't know. Okay.
Solomon was.
It was just tough getting people to go up in karaoke. Took a little while. Then you just couldn't keep people off stage. Everybody wanted to get back on.
Solomon wants to know, was the Lady Death motion picture anime based off the Reckoning comic book?
Yeah, so generally speaking, yes, it was. And then they kind of did their version of it, with the Lucifer having the hooved feet and changing some of the storytelling. Yeah.
All right, here's the last question here.
Last question.
From Bad Mojo.
Bad Mojo.
Can't wait for the Chaotica book.
Heck
when can we get a sneak peek of the interior art?
So in about 2 weeks. So about 2 weeks to go. I think we're 3 weeks till... so it's like within the next 10 days, you will see it. It's coming at you fast and hard. I picked up the mock-ups of the work and here it comes. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for attending this August. Can you believe it's August, everybody? August Beer with Brian, a program of the Coffin Comics Sworn Club. I cordially invite you to join Sworn Club. And until then, talk soon.